Okay, everybody, it's your old friend Edward. I'm here to show you um, quick and easy way to make um, sessions, but also live sessions, but also a tool that will help you get things set up. So what I've heard is that a lot of you are um, using PowerPoint, make some slides, but then you have to open up your classroom early, your live session early, and then go in and make a bunch of changes. And I've got a tool that I think will fix a lot of your problems here. It's called Blackboard Collaborate Plan. It's free if you just Google this. Actually, I think it's called Illuminate Collaborate Plan now, but whatever. You can download a free download and run it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It allows you to plan a session and do pretty much everything you could in the live session, create whiteboard files, create quizzes and all that stuff ahead of time. So I'm going to use it, but I'm going to show you how I go about making like a test review session. So first, I've already made a whiteboard in it. I'm just going to open up a splash screen in the application so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here it's called Illuminate Plan. Okay, so it's opened up to the whiteboard, and I've got this slide here. So I'm just gonna write in. See, I can use the same tools that you find in the live session. I'm gonna write in Unit 5 Test Review. Yeah, can't type today. Okay. Now, here's what I like to do to create a test review. I like to go over the 5 hardest questions or so and just post them, talk about how to solve them. So what I'll do is in my chemistry course, I will go to the quizzes, and I'm going to go find the Unit 5 test. Okay, here it is. Now go to statistics, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not real helpful, but I do like to have this. I like to show kids this. So I'm going to just go back to the Illuminate Plan here, make a new page, and I'm going to do a screen capture. Well, hopefully it'll work with this screen recording software here. Looks like it's doing okay. Okay, so I'm just going to change the size of the box, take a snapshot, put it in here. Now, usually I just go through putting in a bunch of snapshots. It's a little distorted because of the screen capture program I'm running. But then I would resize it. So just put the pointer in the corner, hold down shift, and when you move it around it won't change the aspect ratio, so it won't squash it or make it real narrow or anything. Right? If I don't hold down shift, then I can do all sorts of weird stuff like this. Right? But holding down shift keeps it in the same aspect ratio. Okay, so what I would do is I'd use this to show the kids, oh, this is how we're doing. Overall, we're doing really well. Looks like I missed the average score, which is 91 for this. But there's always that cluster of kids that are slackers and fail. So now let's take a look at, I'm going to make a new page and I'm going to go take a look at some question level statistics. And all these question stats, who cares? How many people took the test? What was their average score? That doesn't tell you much useful information. No, well, you could, I guess this one gives you question by question. Some of these are randomly chosen, so I'd just go right past this thing. I go to the question details. That's what I like. Okay, now it shows you all the different questions and it gives you some nice information like what the average grade is. So the smaller the average grade, the worse kids did on it. Uh, Discrimination index, sometimes it's filled in. That tells you how well this question lines up with the rest of the test. So if kids are if kids who do well on the test overall do well on this question, the discrimination index will be high because there's a good match between that. If it's low or if it's negative, like there's a reverse correlation, then there's something wrong with that question. There's something to look at. Anywho, problem with this page is that it just gives it to you question by question. Question 1, question 2, does not sort it by question difficulty, which is what we want. So I'm going to export to CSV. What that'll do is it'll give me a file that I can sort. Unfortunately, that file will not be the easiest thing to use to look at the questions, because it won't have any images or anything, right? It's just going to look like this. But I can at least sort it. So I'm going to select all of it, go to sort and filter and custom sort. I just want to sort by the average score from smallest to largest. There we go. Okay. So now I have all the questions and I've actually got all the answers here. It has the text of the question, but it will be missing images and some of the characters won't show up the right way. Anywho, what I found works best is I just look at the average score, 1.58. Now I'm going to search this page, the question details for 1.58. So hit Control F, and that pops up the little search within page. I think it was 1.58. There we go. I just found a question with average grade 1.58. Here it is. So now what I'm going to do is go back to Illuminate Plan, take a screenshot of this question. Alright, this will work fine. And normally I would just keep going through all the different questions, but you can see how this is going to work. I'll do one more, just to show you the kind of workflow I would do. So next one has a score of 1.8. So I'm going to search Control F, 1.8, and there it is. So I'll take a snapshot of this guy here, snapshot button, move the box around, take snapshot. Okay, and I do that maybe 3 more times to get 3 more questions. After I've got them all in there, then I'll do some editing. Like, remember how I resized this one? I'm going to resize the others just to make them easier to read when we're looking at them. So again, I put the mouse in the corner, hold down Shift, and move the mouse to make it bigger. Okay. Now what I'll do is, the correct answer is marked, but when I'm reviewing this with the kids, I don't want them to see the correct answer. So I'm just going to put a box in front of it. I like to make it a blue box because it fits the color scheme that's already there. And I'll put a box over where the arrows are. Ta-da! Right, only got 2 in this one, so there are some boxes. Okay. Now there are other things I can do. Like if I see that a question is going to be a hard one, I can work out what I might do. Let's see. One thing I can do is I can add the clip art ahead of time. The clip art library that comes with this, it doesn't have all of the options that we have in the live one, but it has some of them. Right, so I can like put a green check on here. I can copy it, have more. I can put in a red X. It'll just be on the bottom of the screen. So when I'm going through this with the kiddos, I can say, well, I know that this one's wrong, so I'll put an X here, and this one seems right. Put a green check mark here. Well, let's see. Woo! There we go. Right? Move the box. You show the answer. You can also have drawings. You know, this is so much nicer than PowerPoint because let's say that I'm going to do some math. So I might have, let me change this to 22 or something, 24. I might say x equals, and see I'm having new text boxes so that I can move things around. You'll see what I'll do here. Okay. So now I've got an X, I've got an equal sign, I've got a 2, got a plus, I've got a 3. Right. Well, now I can drag things around. I can be like, well, let's move this around, subtract 3 from both sides. I can maybe change this to a minus sign on the fly when I'm working with the kids. So you can see there's a lot you can do when you just have the stuff on the screen, and you can just sort of drag and drop it, drag it around. You don't have to make a different screen for, say, every step of a math sequence. You can just sort of drag things around. It's really helpful. Um, there's more you can do, but this is the basics. Cover things up with boxes. Woo! There it is. Big reveal. So, I actually knocked out a presentation like this morning for this exact test. I think I had 10 minutes before the session started. I got it done in 10 minutes. Obviously, sometimes your explanation for how to solve some of these questions is going to be a lot more detailed. Um, this one, they were all pretty easy, so I knew I could just on the fly talk about this. So, on the fly, I could just say, well, the equation for this is going to be blah, 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 blah. So we just need to get the one that matches and, whatever. Okay, so once you've got all your slides, and again, you can do anything you can do in the live version you can do on this thing, really. And you could take your slides from a live session and save them as a whiteboard, open them up in this and edit them. That's one thing you can do. So I'm going to save this now. You just save the current screen group. I guess that means all of the screens in whatever whiteboard file you're working with. So again, I started this by opening up this whiteboard file that only has one slide, and it's like the cover slide I use. So now I'm going to save them, and I like to save it as, unit something. I'll just put sample for this, and then I like to have the date, year first, month, day, 4-digit year, 2-digit month, 2-digit day, just because it sorts as you would expect when you do that. So I'll just save them as a whiteboard file, and then once I start up a live session, which I could do, let me just do that now. In fact, go find a live session, start it up. All I have to do is just drag that whiteboard file onto the session. So this session is later this afternoon. If I open it now, no one's going to be in there. There we go. Good old Java coming up here. Verifying application. Yes, I do want to run it. That's why I clicked on it in the first place. I'm glad it does that though, because sometimes I just want that link to the recording. I don't want to start it. I just want this link. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go to the folder where I saved this thing. Just drag it up here. Woo! To this little bar right here. I think it has to be there. You're always going to be left with that first public page, which if you want to, you can delete. I think you can rename the screens in Illuminate Plan if you want to. I never bother. I think the names of these screens pop up on the bottom if you watch recording. But with this, if you're saving the whiteboards and reusing them year after year and maybe editing in between, then all I have to do is go in, find last year's test review, make a few changes, rename the screens, and you're done. I don't find it that important though. It is nice, in an ideal world. I don't think kids really mind that much. It's a lot of work for not much payoff. Okay, and so you see it's right here. All I'd have to do is just open it up. There you go, kids, blah blah blah. Now let's say I come up with some whiz bang doodad, I make a new page and I say, well, I really want to have Oops, that's not it. I really want to have something that I've found in here. I don't know. I really want to have a happy face on a blank page. I really want this. Well, now I can just I can save this whiteboard over what I just had. Right. So now if I have another session where I'm going to be using these same slides, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. Um, that was the sample one here. Well, then it's all set. It's all ready to go for me. So yeah, um, nice. There are other things you can do, but maybe I'll make some recordings about the other interesting features of this. It's got a different flow. PowerPoint is it's kind of static. When you convert a PowerPoint to a whiteboard, what it does, I believe, is it just takes all the slides and creates images of them. You can't drag and drop anything. You're kind of stuck with what it is. So using Illuminate Plan lets you make whiteboards that have all of these native functions, like little objects that you can drag and drop. Okay, I think that's going to be it, because I probably spent more time than I needed to already.